Operating on the theory of constraints gives you a singular focus of what is the one thing you should be focusing on with the business right now today. But once you've found your constraint, as many resources as possible should be deployed to solving that constraint. What if the most important thing in your business is not your skill set? Your and my time is our most valuable asset as business owners. And how you spend your time and making sure that you're spending it in the right place is frankly one of the most important strategic decisions that you can make. And spending a lot of time in the wrong places doesn't necessarily mean your business is going to slow, but it's probably not going to grow. And making sure if you're spending all of your time in the right places, you're probably going to grow a hell of a lot faster. And there is an easy way to make sure you don't invest another hour into something that you do not want to do to grow your business. And no, it is not asking your business coach what they think you should be doing, right? So this podcast is specifically for team leaders and broker owners, and I'm sharing my experiences growing Onyx Homes from start to finish. If you want the best possible look at how we're doing this, go to onyxhomes.com/school or click link in the description. But my name is Christian Stubbs. I'm team leader and owner of Onyx Homes. We've sold over 700 homes for over $600 million in volume since 2020 when we started the team. So this content is specifically breaking down for team leaders. Now, the reason I said that don't ask your coach what you should be doing with your time is because you are your best coach. You have all the context about the business and you know what is most important. So how could you make sure that you're spending the right amount of time or the correct amount of time on the right things? And here is how I think through this. And this has honestly been one of the things that I have struggled with most as a business owner, is to make sure that I am pointed in the right direction. Now, I'll give you the big context piece is that I am not in production at all. I do not sell anything anymore, and I haven't for the last, I guess since 2022, and we're in 25 now, so however long that is. So here's the questions that I ask myself is, number one, what is the number one focus of the company right now? And from there, so once you write down or say, what is the number one focus in the company right now? The second thing is, how much time of my time is being spent on that? Now, if you don't feel like you're spending enough time on the most important thing, you need to make an adjustment. So just for a few weeks ago, we were in the middle of quarter one, I asked myself this question. I said, what is the number one focus in the company right now? And for us, it is building an in-house lead source that we can control. I asked, how much of my time am I investing into this? And the answer was an hour, maybe 2 per week. And there is a misalignment for sure, right? I'm spending almost none of my time on the most important thing. That is definitely a problem. And really, maybe more like 3 hours a week of making content. That was about it. And reviewing some stuff. So not nearly enough. So what did we change? We reallocated, and I made an episode entirely about this, but I want to document as we're making these changes. So hindsight's 2020, but I am in the middle of making these adjustments right now. So this was about 2 weeks ago. I reallocated all of our marketing team's resources, almost all of their resources, and I reallocated about 20 hours of my week into rebuilding an inside sales team. Our ISA department, I'm in the middle of rebuilding. We have job postings out. We just got one hire good for next month, and we're working on 5 or 10 other interviews for the second person. Now, this isn't going to be forever what I'm spending my 20 hours a week on. However, this is the most important thing in the business right now. So my marketing team got reallocated from focusing more on my personal brand and agent attraction. We reallocated that to consumer-facing brand and lead generation that'll all funnel through our ISA department. Now, we've done ISA departments multiple times in the past. However, I didn't have this lesson I should say I learned this lesson the times that I've done an ISA department. Is frankly, it wasn't the number one focus of the company. It got very little of my time, and it didn't work. Go figure. So I am going to dedicate 20-ish hours a week of my time every single week until we have the department cranking. And if I do that, so here's the big lesson I've learned over the last year or two, last 18 months, let's say, is if I just do that, the business will grow. If we keep doing what we're doing from So, is there anything I could be doing with my time that would grow the business faster? And if yes, you probably have a priority problem. So if I were to go back to the first month and a half of the year, we had a priority problem. We put our focus on content. We just focused on the wrong content. Yes, building my brand is important. Building the agent attraction machine is important, but it's not the most important thing. Frankly, if we just grow Onyx Homes as we are, and we add more leads and more appointments for our agents, agents are going to come. Like, we already attract a lot of agents as it is, and we are growing that as well too. So putting all of the efforts on there in hindsight was foolish because it wasn't the most important thing. Recruiting more agents of the team is important to just the life of a team, but it wasn't the most important thing. A in-house lead generation absolutely is the most important thing. So I asked myself, is there anything else I could be doing with my time? And the answer was absolutely yes. I could be spending more time and resources on building out the inside sales department. That's my time, my marketing manager's time, my marketing department's time. So we have Carly, my director of brand. We have a in-house video editor, David. Shout out. Thank you for editing this. We have Danita. We have Herman, our videographer, right? And we're hiring another video editor. That whole department, I would say 80% of the resources moved from over here to over here. They moved from not the most important thing to the most important thing. I know I'm talking about your highest and best use of time, but my highest and best use of time is not editing. It's not doing anything. Filming might be it. As far as marketing goes in that aspect, but building out the sales process, hiring people, building out the comp plans, building out the action plans, building out the actual lead generation from a paid ads perspective. This is all organic that we're talking about over here. That is where I need to be focusing all of my time. So from my content perspective, I am here at just about 2:00 on a Tuesday, which is the time that I film. This is the last video that I'm filming. Everything that I'll do till I'm done working is going to be on the most important thing. And that right there at the end of the day is the most important thing, to make sure you're always focusing on the most important thing. Now, I've got some more notes here, which is why I'm reading. So this is a challenge constantly, is what if the most important thing in your business is not your skill set? Now what, right? So we're talking about using your highest and best use of time. So just because something is the most important in the business does not mean that you need to be spending your time doing it necessarily. So for example, social media is not my thing. I freaking hate social media. I don't even like making content, but I know it works for the business and it's growing on me. So if I was to say, okay, Carly, I'm going to manage the social media, like that'd be a waste of my time in the sense of I'm not good at it and she's way better at it. And I can be doing other things that she's not good at, right? That like I'm a valuable resource. You are a valuable resource for your company, and she is as well for marketing. So what if the thing that it needs solving isn't your skill set? Or what if, frankly, it's just below your pay grade? Well, here's a story. So about 18 months ago, our constraint was that we were not able to onboard the agents. So we had too many leads and not enough agents. So we turned up our recruiting. So we were recruiting agents, but the constraint was we weren't onboarding them, and I was getting pulled into the onboarding. So what is the most important thing at that time? It was recruiting agents. I could have just done all the onboarding. I could have put 30 hours of my week into that, and the problem would have been solved. But that definitely wouldn't have been the best way to solve this problem. And if you've listened to future episodes or previous episodes, you know about this story. So what did I end up doing? Well, I ended up hiring an office administrator at a part-time entry-level wage, and it completely solved the problem within 30 days. So 30 days after job posting, interviewing, all the stuff, 30 days later, we have somebody put in place that has completely fixed the onboarding process. And I am back to focusing on whatever I was doing at that time. Now, fast forward, that same role, different person, same role, that person has taken over literally 95% of the recruiting. Now, recruiting is very important to the business, but that a business will grow until it is constrained, and it will not grow past that. So for us, we went from the constraint being the onboarding. Well, first the constraint was we didn't have enough agents to handle our leads. And then we started recruiting agents, and the constraint became onboarding. And then we fixed the onboarding, and the next constraint became, okay, now we have enough agents for the leads. Now the constraint is not that we don't have enough leads, but if we had 10 times more leads, we could just hire more agents and grow faster. Which now our constraint is in-house lead flow. So that's what we're focusing on right now. And again, the whole point of this podcast is probably a simple, easy episode, I hope, is that this is where we're at right now. And I just totally reallocated my time. I reallocated our marketing department's time to focus on the most important thing. And it has been something I have struggled with a lot, is asking the question of where should my focus, time, and energy be pointed at? And when we learned the theory of constraints, I no longer have that stress anymore. As long as I write down and have it in front of me what the constraint actually is, what I should be doing becomes incredibly clear. And if the number one constraint in the company is we don't have in-house deal flow, there is almost nothing else I should be doing other than focusing on that. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. So I hope that makes it a little bit easier for you to decide what you should be doing with your business. And here's the summary. Operating on the theory of constraints gives you a singular focus of what is the one thing you should be focusing on with the business right now today. So once you find your constraint, and finding the correct one is a whole other episode that we talked about, but once you've found your constraint, as many resources as possible should be deployed to solving that constraint. And your time is very much probably the most powerful resource you have as the company, depending on the size. Especially if you're a small company, like you might be the only resource. So once I know what the constraint is, finding out what to do is easy. And the reality is, like, we've known this was the constraint for like a year, and I did not make an adjustment early enough to put my time into the constraint. So that is my lesson learned. That is my, in hindsight, I have known what this constraint was for the last, let's say, 10 months. And I put a lot of resources into solving the constraint, but not my time and my resources. So that is an adjustment that we just made. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share. That is today's episode of building Onyx Homes from start to finish. If you want a closer look in us doing this, I share a lot more information inside of our community on the platform school. So if you want to check that out, go to onyxhomes.com/school. The link will be in the wherever. If you like this, subscribe, do all the things, share it with a friend. I make this content because I wish I would have learned a lot of this stuff the easy way, from learning from somebody else's mistakes rather than learning it the hard way myself. So that is another episode down in the story of me building Onyx Homes from start to finish.